Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to James Cameron.
I almost bailed on being a filmmaker. It's about sitting in that big dark room with all those other people you don't know, and something's going to come up on that screen that's going to take you somewhere.
I'm the king of the world!
Boy, are we in for a treat today. We are going to be talking to the one and only alien warrior from this film right here, 1986's Aliens, one of James Cameron's many masterpieces. And I'm super excited. I actually found out about this gentleman through a mutual friend of ours, Alexandra Boyd. She messaged me and she was like, "Hey, do you know who Carl TOOP is?" And I was like, "It sounds familiar," through my scrolling on social medias and everything. But she's like, he's the alien warrior from Aliens. So you need to eventually get him on your podcast. So thanks to Alexandra, reached out, and lo and behold, here we go. We have Mr. Carl TOOP.
Hi, Ed. How are you?
Good, good. So you're all the way over in, where are you right now?
I'm in France right now, yeah.
Wow.
Down in the southwest of France, near Bordeaux, the wine country. So, yeah, pretty good down here. So.
And you just did some charity event. I looked at your Instagram story, right?
Yeah, this morning it was. Well, what we do is there's a festival here called St. Catherine's. And it's for all the young ladies and older ladies who aren't married yet. And what they do, they wear a hat to find a future husband. But for this one, we collect all the vegetables that people don't use in the village. We cut them all up and we make soups, and we do 3 soups. And my one was a Thai soup, and that was what I was doing this morning. And then we set off at lunchtime, and people just put in whatever they want for a bowl of soup, and everyone's happy. So,
incredible.
Catherine's found any husbands or anything, but they enjoy it.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, I know you're super busy. You're at every convention that I ever see. Like, you're always at a convention all the time. Is this something that's lately new to you, or are you
It's very new to me. I did my first one just before COVID hit, and that was in Germany, Dusseldorf, and I couldn't believe it. I thought, well, people are coming to see me. It's like, this is amazing, and I really enjoyed it. I'd never been into that environment of a convention before, and it's just a place where people can go and enjoy themselves and be themselves, and it's great. And I really enjoyed that. So, but I had a few planned, and then COVID knocked that all on the head. So it started again about probably a year and a half ago now. They've been calling me out, and I just came back from the States about 2 weeks ago. I did one in Niagara Falls, which is amazing. just seeing the falls was fabulous, and then I did one down in Kentucky and Lexington, and then I finished off in Pennsylvania doing the Monster Mania. I had a ball. I love it. It's just the real eye-opener, just seeing people being who they want to be, just escaping from the outside world for a few hours, and and they come and see me, and they sort of ask me the stories and everything, and they love it. So and they love it, I love it. It's great.
Yeah, no, it's got to be surreal, because probably when you were making the film, you might have thought it will have some like lasting impact, but you might probably not have thought that.
When they called me up to audition, they said, "Oh, they're doing a sequel of Aliens," and that in those days sequels just weren't hitting it. So it was like, "Oh God, but do I really want to do this? Where's my career going?" But I took it on the shoulders, and I needed to pay the rent, so I went along, and glad I did, because I know, having worked on it, obviously seeing how it was being produced and filmed and everything. I think in our hearts we knew it was going to be a success, but obviously you're never sure until it's actually come out on the big screen. But I think while we were making, we felt there was something special about it. So I was. But even once I'd done the film, that was it. I'd moved on. Like as you were saying about Alex Boyd, we were in the theatre, we were doing television. So we were always moving on to other jobs. So once I'd done the film, they'd all gone back to the States. I stayed in London. I was doing the West End there. So it was, it's just part of my life, which I really enjoyed. And I've moved on. And then 40 years later, almost, people called me up and said, would I be interested in reviving the Alien Warrior? And I said, well, do you really think so? And I've just been amazed. It's lasted this long, 40 years over, and the passion for it is still there. It's incredible.
Right. Now, I'll probably ask you stuff that you've been asked a million times, but I'll try to ask it in a unique, different way. Is there like a promotional image or like an iconic shot of you that is the go-to shot from the film?
Well, the one they tend to use the most is when I'm with Newt in the water.
So that's you in the water?
Yeah, that's me when I come up behind Carrie, who I had the great pleasure of getting together with 2 weeks ago in Monster Mania, and I've seen her for 38 years. And so I thought, gosh, she's not going to know who I am, and whatever. And I was waiting. We were just getting the tables ready for the fans to come in, and she walked straight over, almost running to me, put her arms around me, said, "Oh, Carl, it's great to see you again." It was a magic moment. I never thought, because she was a little girl. She was about 7 or 8, I think, when we filmed that. And no, we had a great time. Went out for dinner in the evening and had a good old catch up, and amazing. But yeah, that shot is the one that seems to come up the most, because it is quite iconic. That image. It's a scary part. It scares. You've got water, you've got monsters, you've got children, you've got a few things going on there, which a lot of people don't. It can scare them. So yeah, that's the one that comes up the most. But yeah, there's lots of images from it, because you've seen the film, I think. There's very quick shots of the alien, so that you don't really get a long. You do get a lasting image of it, but that image is a real flash. So when they're trying to pick out images of the alien, it's there's quite a few actually. If you look at the film carefully, there's a lot of images there to be picked out. So yeah, there's quite a few images flying around, but yeah, that's the most iconic one. I think that's the one they come, especially now when I met up with Carrie, that was the one that was coming up to both of us, obviously, because they wanted both autographs on it. So that's good.
Yeah, I had seen the film before, but I recently revisited it. It was a long time between those viewings, and recently saw it again, and it, like, for some reason I completely forgot about that moment, and when it happened I was like, that's my favorite moment in the film. So when you just said that you're the one in the water, I'm sort of like, okay, this is even cooler that I'm talking to you, because I didn't know that was
No, most of the scenes, if it's just an alien on its own, that was me. To be on my, and then when it was group shots of us, it was me generally in the front because of my physique. That's why I was probably chosen. And so I had the stunt men. There was Alex Gillis and Tom Woodruff. They were there because they were the real costume designers and they knew how it worked. So they were the stunt men behind me. So when we're crawling along the roof, that was me in the front, and then they're coming in behind me, things like that. So, but all the other ones with Pharaoh, when I grab her in the, which we don't actually see in the film, but it was that's an iconic shot as well. Now it's been used as a publicity shot. It's where I come in behind Pharaoh and I grab her from behind. But we don't actually see it in the film, but they used it as the publicity shot. So that was a good scene. And when I snatch up Dietrich, that's me as well. I grab her from behind and drag her up, and that's.
So you probably sign a lot of these things, huh?
Yeah.
The NECA figures, because that's essentially you, right? That's what that's modeled after.
There's not many actually of the actual aliens. A lot of them are from the first one, Alien. Even the pops, a lot of those are the xenomorph from the first film, and there's very few of. I think there's the NECA are the main ones that have produced the aliens. So yeah, but no. So
Wow.
They're great pieces as well. There's quite a lot of detail in them. So
yeah,
costume wise, they're pretty loyal. Yeah.
So this obviously is a podcast dedicated to James Cameron specifically, and I'd love to ask anybody that has worked with him, what is he like? Because I mean, he has this reputation of being this kind of over the top monster, tyrant, whatever. And everybody I've had on the podcast so far has said that that's really not the Jim that we know.
No, not at all. He was a hard worker. He worked as hard as we did, if not harder. Um, for me as my character, he really gave me free rein to how I wanted to develop the creature, how I wanted it to come across. And, he knew the possibilities of the movement in the costume. So he wouldn't go beyond what he knew the costume was capable of doing, or what an actor in the costume was able to do. No, for me, no problems at all. I saw him get angry a few times, but that was, I think, because things went wrong. And it was stressful. I can't imagine the stress he was under financially and time-wise, and having to deal with certain people on like tea ladies, which is the old story that keeps coming out. But that's what it was. It was like there was rules and regulations which he found difficult to accept into his workplace, which we did as well, because we'd have been setting up for a scene for about 4 hours, get everything in place, everyone's ready to go, smoke going, flames are lit, and then they'd say, right, stop now, we need a break now, 15 minutes, and that he'd get a bit angry.
Right.
But we did as well, because it was a wasting time, it's wasting everyone's time. So all it meant was we'd go home a lot later in the evening, so it was a bit counterproductive what they were doing. But I think that was the main problem. But no, for me, and I think the other actors that I've spoken to, I don't think any of them have ever had a bad word to say about him. So yeah, I think a lot of it's because he's a perfectionist. People might take it the wrong way that he's demanding, but look what he's done. The talent like that, you've got to, you got to let it express itself, and he does. And if he told me to do something, I'd do it. Because he basically knew what he was talking about. Because when you go in the morning, he knew exactly what he wanted to do. Everything was set out. All his sketchings were all done for that day. And I never really saw that side of him. I don't know. Yeah, it's a reputation. I don't know where it's come from. Maybe it's just been put out there. But no, I think I can't say a bad word. So.
Yeah, it seems like, from my understanding, it's really more toward crew than it is cast, and that's.
I think it was the crew. Well, it was the unions. I think that that drove it to that point. And I don't know if there's some part of they felt they were there at their studios, and there was this American coming in and telling them what to do. Maybe they didn't take to it kindly. I don't know. It's just a bit childish, really, because they were able to work on a great film with a great director, and they should have been pleased to be working. I was paying my rent, so I was very happy.
Right. By chance, did you try out for Alien?
No. I saw it at college with Alex, actually.
Oh, wow.
Because we trained in Epsom College, Lane Theatre Arts. And we went to the cinema. It wasn't in Epsom. It was, I don't know who it was, Leatherhead or somewhere. And we all went to the cinema there. So you can imagine all these hysterical dancers in there watching aliens leaping out with people, alien watching them come out with people's stomachs and that. So that was a fun evening. And I never thought I'd be doing the second one. I just, because it was like 7 years later, I think, was it?
79, 86. Yeah.
Yeah, 7 years later. And, I never even imagined I'd be doing something like that. Being a dancer, my career was meant to be going down a certain direction, but it was thanks to my dancing that I got the job. So,
right.
We all met up at the right place at the right time. So.
Yep. Give me 1 second. My cat is running about. Let me just put him away. 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. He was gonna mess with wires and probably turn something off that he shouldn't be turning off. Um,
Question.
yeah.
Obviously, you're interviewing people from other films. What's his reputation been like on other films? James Cameron's. They've all had good experiences, the actors, or was it just Alien to get him a bad reputation?
Yeah, no, it's really the crew seems to get the hard part of Jim, and then when it,
I maybe.
you know what I mean? Like anytime I talk to a cast member, and I've had Jeanette Goldstein on, I've had, she was on Titanic and Terminator 2, and I've had so many people on from the films, like the cast, and they speak so highly of him. And then I've had crew from all of his films, and I don't
Okay.
know if it's because now they're removed from it so many years later, but they also speak highly of him. So I don't know if it's like you said, maybe some rumor that just got started and someone doesn't like Jim, so let's spread it kind of thing. It's not even true, but I don't know. I mean,
It hasn't harmed him in any way, I don't think. So.
no, no, of course not. Of course not. And he's even, said that he, uh, you know, if he ever did do anything like that, obviously he doesn't want to continue to be like that. He wants to be
Yeah,
a little easier going.
yeah.
So, but
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I for some reason I've always gravitated towards his films. I mean, I love a lot of filmmakers and there's a lot of great filmmakers out there, but for me it's just there's James Cameron
Yeah.
and then there's everybody else. And it's really one of my favorite things is it's quality over quantity. When you look at his filmography, it's what, 8 or 9 films depending on if you include Piranha.
It's pretty. He's got there's an exhibition on in Paris at the moment of all the films, like his major films, and they've got all his etchings from when he was a child. He apparently had dreams, and he was able to draw the dreams down. That's where like things like Avatar and Abyss have come from. And the
Right.
exhibition is incredible when you see the artwork that he's produced as well as completely apart from the films, but that's driven him in his work as well. And it's pretty amazing to see. As a child, he had talent already.
Oh, and of course that's over in Paris because I'm in
Yeah,
the States.
yeah, touring actually because it's a good, it's a pretty impressive exhibition. I think which would be a shame if it doesn't travel because it's worth seeing and the fans love it. They've got one of my old costumes there which I hadn't seen. They've got a bit of something from each film he's done. Like Abyss, he's got the masks and that. Avatar, sorry, the mask and that. So yeah, I hope he does go around because it's a good exhibition.
Absolutely, absolutely. Did you ever, after Aliens wrapped, did you ever audition or did you ever reach out and be like, "Hey, put me in another film of yours," or did you ever talk to him again?
Well, no, because I was based in England. It was they left, and I carried on sort of doing what I was doing. So no, I never. No, I don't know. I suppose I just thought in America it's so far away, it's so big, it's beyond my reach and everything. I just thought I was just lucky to do the film when I did it at Pinewood, and I sort of just left it at that. Which and also I think the next film that came out was again another 5 or 6 years afterwards. So things had moved on as well for me as well. So maybe I've made mistakes in my life. Maybe that's one of them. But I had no regrets. But I could have maybe if I'd made the effort gone over. But like I said, being in the States, it was miles away. It was beyond my reach. It was America was it's the place to be, isn't it? So little old me in London, I was I didn't advance for that.
Yeah, because I mean, that's another thing I love about him. He constantly works with the same people, in each film. Back to Jeanette, she goes from Aliens to Terminator 2 to Titanic.
Yeah.
Bill Paxton, obviously, he was in multiple of Cameron's films. So yeah, so
Sigourney Weaver.
Who knows? Who knows? But yeah.
Maybe an old alien one day. Maybe I could do that.
Well, when you said revive the alien, at first I thought you were talking about the new film that came out, Alien Romulus, but you weren't attached to that at all?
No, I've been in touch with Trevor, who played the Alien Warrior, so we're in contact. But he's a lot younger.
Right.
It's quite costume work's fairly energetic. You know, you need to be fairly agile and to get a movement and that. So, the body did sort of say to me a few years ago, stop dancing. So I think doing creature work as well, I think it's the same message.
Right. Are you a fan of the whole franchise? Is there do you like all the films, or are there certain ones that you're like, I don't think that one's that great?
To be honest, I'm not a big film goer. Shouldn't really say that, but Romulus, I am going to see it because it's woken up the whole thing again. I think I haven't seen 3 or the third or fourth one, so I can't. Some people like them, some people don't. But Romulus seems to have reunited everyone again in a certain way and replaced it with the first and second one. So I'm definitely going to try and get to see that. But I want to see it on the big screen. And because I'm in the middle of nowhere, it's pretty difficult to find somewhere that's showing it. But I'll get there. But yeah, definitely.
You have seen all of Cameron's films, though, yeah? No?
Titanic, I saw.
Okay.
Avatar, yeah, no, well, Abyss I haven't seen. Terminator I saw. Yeah, that was years ago. Yeah, that was before Aliens, wasn't it? The Alien, the Terminator.
Yeah.
So I wasn't seeing it in the same light as how I would probably see it today, as having done a film, because I hadn't done the film when they brought the first Terminator. So. But right. No, like I said, I'm not a big film goer. I have problems sitting down for like 3 hours, and I watch a film, but I'll watch it in sections. I tend to watch 20 minutes and got to go and do something else. I go off and do that, and then come back. And
okay.
So I'm probably losing a bit of the atmosphere by doing that. It's not good. But no, but when you like the Titanic, I love that film. Because the whole story of the Titanic, it's a real story. But when it's like Abyss and Avatar, they're a bit more. They're out of this world, really, and I have a bit more trouble with watching films like that if there's not a real. If I can't relate to it, and I do have problems relating to that out of this world sort of storyline. But no, I've seen some of the work on the Avatar. It's incredible. The images are just amazing. I don't know if I can sit down for 3 hours, and I think it's even longer than that, isn't it? So,
yeah, the second one is over 3 hours. I think it's pretty much right around the length of Titanic.
Yeah, I get very twitchy then. So, but
yeah,
the Titanic kept my interest because it was a story that I could follow through and relate. Yeah. But
what about True Lies?
No.
Never seen True Lies? Wow. And then what about what about Terminator 2? What about the sequel?
I saw the first one, not the second one.
Okay. Wow. So what do you do if watching films isn't your thing, and that's totally fine. What is some of your hobbies, or what is the stuff that brings you happiness?
Well, I'm a chef now, so I do a lot of cooking. That's probably my main interest. Traveling, I love traveling. That I do a lot. Even if it's just going down to Bordeaux, Paris, just pop in for a weekend, get the vibes from the big city, and then move out again. Right. Theatre, I like theatre. So if I was going to go to entertainment like that, I'd go probably more to theatre than a cinema. That again, I think that's partly because I know if it's because it would probably be more of a musical that I'd go and see anyway. So I know I can relate. I can really relate to that, the work they're doing, and with a critical eye, and that I enjoy. Yeah, and I enjoy an evening at theatre. So that's that probably replaces a cinema, I think, for me.
Now, what if it's like, because right now, obviously, we're in the midst of Wicked being released and being this giant phenomenon in the theaters. What if it's a case of that where it went from theater to film? Will you go to the cinema to see it?
If I'd seen it at the theatre, maybe.
Maybe.
As if I read a book, I'm always a bit wary about seeing either the film or a play once I've read the book, because if I've really enjoyed the book, I might be disappointed that they haven't captured the atmosphere of the book that it came from or something. But it's difficult because you've got two totally different medias. You've got theatre and cinema. So I think I'd have to watch. You'd have to see both of them without comparing them. I don't think you can compare either of them. I don't think, but apart from the music, obviously in Wicked, but obviously the imagery is going to be different. The atmosphere is going to be different. So I could go and see both, but I probably wouldn't try and compare them to each other. I wouldn't think that would be fair either way.
Right. Yeah, that's really interesting because I think of the movies as sort of the universal entertainment, and it's all the other things like theater and whatever, all those live venues. Those are sort of a little nichier, not like totally niche, but those don't get as many people to go. I feel like the movies is where everybody goes. So it's actually kind of refreshing that you're like, I'm really not into movies.
Bad, isn't it? But no, I appreciate all the work that goes in them, but I do have that trouble of just sitting down and watching a screen. You see, with theatre as well, you always got that chance of error, which is quite exciting to me. That sounds awful. Someone might trip up or get their lines, or they might have a spate of giggles or something, and that's what excites me probably about theatre. Whereas a film, most of these films that get put out are generally they've got there because they're fairly good, but it's going to be the same every time you watch it, really. That's probably another reason why. But theatre, that for me, theatre I find a bit more exciting because of that human error is always possible.
Right.
And seeing how people cope with it as well, because that's an art in itself. Coping when you're in front of maybe 500, 600, 800 people, and you've got to carry on without them seeing it. And I can see I understand the that, whereas film making is probably a bit above my my knowledge. I've done one film, so I know how that was produced. I know the work that went into it. The effort that everyone put into it, because it's there's things of teamwork, so everyone is putting an effort into it to make it a success. But once it's done, that's it done.
Right. So you've only the only film you've ever done is Aliens.
Aliens, yeah. I've done TV. I've done TV work, but the film work, that's the only one I did. Aliens.
Wow. And do you think it is because of because I assume you felt how you feel now back then about film, right? Like you're not really into film, or were you into film back then?
Really, no, I wasn't into film then. We went when I went to see Alien. It's because the whole group of us going from college, so it was a night out and that. Mind you, that what got me into dancing was a film. So
make it make sense.
I think that was my film. That was the film for me. So after that, it's just one of those things. It was having the time also to go to cinema, because we'd be working evenings or matinees, and you'll be rehearsing during the day, and then so you didn't have time to go to the cinema. And I'd rather have the time I had, would sit around and read a book maybe than go and sit in a cinema.
Right, right. Well, what about like movies that center on dancing, like Saturday Night Fever or Flashdance? Can you watch those?
Saw those because that was Saturday Night Fever, and that was when I first started college dancing wise. So, John Travolta was sort of a slight influence to me. The cool dude and that. But yeah, those times I was watching Fred Astaire, I was doing Ginger Rogers, Gene Kelly, Saturday Night Fever, Grease, all that. It was anything musical was I was just give it to me because I'm learning from it because I was at college and the more I could see, the more we could get ideas from. If we were having to do exams, we were doing choreography and that. So it was that was I was I was seeing films then, but I was not really for the entertainment value as such as the knowledge I could gain from it as well. So
Right. So this is all making sense now because the alien warrior, is obviously a non-speaking role, and it's really just the physicality.
yeah.
And
Yeah, well, I think that's why I was chosen because of my agility. Because we can get dancers can get your leg around your neck and that. So that's what you need to do because we were put in. I was put into certain positions which you had to hold for about 20, 30 minutes, and they were funny positions, and you had to be fairly agile to get into them. So and skinny because they get into small spaces and that, and also give the length and the skinniness to the actual alien itself. So
right.
so the dancing was really the reason I was doing the film.
So had you been offered a speaking role, do you think you would have taken it?
Oh, probably because at that time I'd do anything. Well, it's one of those if
Pay
someone
rent. Pay rent.
pay rent and get on in the business, because it's like you never know what job's going to lead to the next. So you were just taking it. If there couldn't be a speaking role, yeah, I've done that. But that wasn't my training as such. At the Lane Theatre Arts, we did dancing. That was the main thing, dancing. And there was singing, there was acting. Like Alex Boyd, she was very good at acting and singing. That was her. She was very good at dancing as well. She was a good jazz dancer, but she lent more towards the acting and singing. So she's done a lot more speaking roles than I ever did. So I think once we were lucky enough in the college we were at to have that choice of choosing the direction we wanted to go, and mine was more on the dancing, singing side, and so yeah. The alien thing was a natural thing for me to do when I think about it, because of what agility wise and what I could do physically. So
Right. So now in 2024, besides the conventions and all that stuff, are you focused on, besides your hobbies, are you focused on the entertainment industry still, or are you pretty much retired from it?
I do. My main job now is chefing. We've got a food truck, and we do that every Thursday. And no, I'm a good spot at the moment. I've got my job sorted out. It's working well. I enjoy it. I'm happy personally. I've got the conventions coming up. I love doing those. So I've really reached a part, a good level in my life. So it's it's all everything's sort of come together, and the aliens thing for me is just the icing on the the cherry on the what is it, icing on the top, no, icing on the cake, or
Yeah, I gotcha.
yeah.
Wow.
So I've got to answer for, it's been a big circle and it's come around again, and now it's just taken off for me again. So thank you, James Cameron, and Gail Ann Hurd, because she was there as well for the auditions. So
Right. Which, speaking of the audition, I don't know if how much you've talked about it, but if you can recall what it was like. Was it just, hey, show us how physical you can be?
but they basically said move like an alien. So that sort of really helped us, didn't it? So it was, no, there was probably about 200 of us at the audition.
Wow.
And I'd really, because it was a sequel, and it was we went along as a bit of a joke, actually, not a joke, but we went along just to really see what it was like in Pinewood Studios. That was our main thing of the day. But once you get there, you sort of see James Cameron, and you see the actual student. I think, well, could be quite serious. So. He asked us to move like an alien, which you feel a bit stupid doing because you don't really know how an alien moves, but you just sort of, everyone was just moving around and that, and they whittled us down. I think we did about 4 auditions all in all, because we had to do wire work as well. And I think that was another thing why I was asked to go to the audition, was because I was doing a play at the time in the West End called Jumpers by Tom Stoppard, and I was an astronaut going across the stage on wires. So I was flying across on wires, and my agent just said, well, they're looking for someone who could do wire work for aliens. Did I want to go? So like I said, I need the rent paid. So I went along, and we did about 4 auditions. I did the wire work. We had to jump off probably about 15-meter high scaffolding, and they just said jump and move again like an alien. So you just throw everything into it, because you have like 30 seconds to prove what you can do. So you just throw yourself into it, and then I think they did a costume thing as well, where we tried on costumes and that, and then went home. They didn't say anything, and then my agent just phoned me up at the theatre, because I was working in the evening, and he said, "Oh, you got the job."
Wow.
So, yeah, but and that's when it hit me. I went, wow. And they gave me permission, because I was still working in the theatre then, and they gave me permission to do the theatre in the evening and the play, the film during the day, which didn't happen very often, because it was 2 contracts running side by side, and 20th Century Fox weren't that keen to do it. The theatre wouldn't give me up either, so they came to a deal. They just said, okay, we'll see how it works, and they worked around it, which was great. So
Wow.
yeah.
And they never reached out to you when Alien 3 was being made?
Was Alien 3 filmed in the States?
Maybe. It might have been. Yeah.
Filmed in the States, then they would have used their own people out there, because well, it's easier.
That's weird though, like, because you would think, okay, Carl really kind of embodied this character. There's, obviously the iconic shot that we're talking about earlier in the show, and all this stuff, and it's sort of weird that they wouldn't have gone, all right, well, we do have him, he knows what to do, versus getting someone else, new.
Tough business.
Right? Because there's the movie Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger. The guy that played the Predator, Kevin Peter Hall, he played the Predator again in
Right.
Predator 2.
But well, they were both in the States as well. So they're filmed in the same place.
Right.
So I'm on the side of the lake. So that's
so crazy.
Lost and forgotten, really. It's and was it James Cameron did the 3rd one? No,
that's David Fincher.
Yeah, so if James Cameron, it would have been James Cameron that would have probably put out for me if he wanted me back. With the directors, they'll probably go and choose their own people anyway. So
right. Wow, that's wild. But even though you are essentially retired, if your phone rang and you picked it up and it's James Cameron and he says, "Hey, I want you to be in my next Avatar film," are you there?
No. Yeah, I reckon I could do that. If you're listening, James.
Right?
Yeah. No, of course I would. No, if he thought I was able at this stage of my life to do justice to something in the film, then yeah, definitely. That'd be an honor. But
right. Yeah, because literally yesterday I recorded a podcast with Alexandra, and we were watching Titanic from start to finish, doing an audio commentary kind of thing. and we pointed out that one of the extras in Titanic is Trisha O'Neill, who was in Piranha 2: The Spawning, which was
Right.
obviously Cameron's, for all intents and purposes, that was his first film. And how cool that was, that from that first film to Titanic, he put her
Yeah.
in the film.
So it's
Um,
never too late.
it's never too late. That's what I'm saying. So,
But
no, look,
apart,
I mean, oh, sorry, go ahead. There was a little lag there.
and you never know.
Right, exactly.
I never
Um,
be talking to you, so one day. So there you go. It's anything's possible, isn't it? So
There you go. There you go. But no, look, I think it's, it's wild that this one film that you did, you got so lucky with, because I mean, you could have done any film,
yeah,
and 9 times out of 10, those, films don't have the longevity that, certain other films have. A lot of films get made, put out there, and then they're just sort of, they
yeah.
fall into obscurity, or not a lot of people care about them. You
No,
you got put into a film that people love, that people are gonna still love, you
yeah.
know?
But it's like Carol, who I saw a couple of weeks ago. She said, she's only ever done, and it's like, what a film, and it's still, it's been with her all this time. She does all the conventions and everything. She loves it, and
And she's a teacher, right? She's a teacher.
she has a family and that, and she's she hasn't been in the business at all since the film. So for her, she said, if you're going to do a film, do the aliens. It's if you're going to do one film, that's the best one to be in. It's
I'll tell you, because I mean, look, Carl, I don't know if you know this, but you're gonna be doing these conventions for a long time. They
but
don't they do not go away.
uh, I think, well, only so many people want to come and see me and that, but each time each convention I'm doing is getting more and more people coming, and I'm like, and it's such an honor. It really is, because they make the effort to come and see me, and no, I love it. It's chatting with them and that, but
Do you have a super memorable convention, like, person that came up to you at a convention and was just like, it was like, you can't forget it?
there's a lot of there's a lot of memories I have from it, and the last one I had, Monster Mania, had a girl coming up and she was crying, because I was her, not her hero, but it was just from the film, I was the most important thing to her in the whole film, and she just loved these films, and she was crying and shaking and everything, and I'm calm.
You're like, oh, whoa, calm down.
I had to ask her husband if I could just give her a hug to try and calm her down, and that, because she was just. And I managed to spend like half an hour with her, and we just sat down, had a chat, and everything. And she was over the moon. And I don't, maybe you can, but you imagine making someone that happy so fairly easily. It's so it's things like that. And there was another guy, he came up, a chap. He came up, and he was 16, and he wanted to be a dancer. And his father said, "No, I don't really want to be a dancer." And because it's a difficult career, especially for a guy and all this. And I said, "Well, yeah, no, but I did me well, and I really enjoyed it." And the father said, "Well, let me just talk to my son for a while, and talk to him about dancing, what it involves, and then we'll go from there." So sort of sat the son down, and we sort of talking about how it's not an easy business to choose, but you've got to be dedicated, and you've got to really love it to do it. And he went back to his father, and apparently they had a chat, and the father came back to me and said, "Well, he's really determined to do it, and thanks to you, I'm going to let him." But well, even if he only, I said to the father, even if he only does it for a couple of years, at least you've allowed him to do it. And if he fails, and he moves on to something else. But it's, if he's got that passion in him, let him, if you can let him do it, let him do it, because it's. And the father came up to me at the end of the day and said, "Well, I'm going to allow him to do it." So, and that to me was great because I remember when I said that I was going to be a dancer. It didn't go down very well with the family either. So I had my own battles on that perspective. So I was able to help someone and the family, the father and son, because it's often the father and son that have the conflict when they choose to do a career like that. So that was quite a proud moment for me, which I shouldn't really be proud, but I was fairly proud of that moment because it was. But no, it's just the fans. It's just seeing their faces and the joy you can give them. It sounds corny, but I love it. So
and doing these conventions hasn't reignited like, oh man, I do want to continue doing something like this. Like, it hasn't reignited that.
Well, yeah, because it's built my confidence up a lot because it's you get out of the business and when you're dancing, you haven't always got confidence, but you have to show it when you're dancing when you're younger. And if you haven't got the confidence, you just have to pretend you've got it, and you get by that way. But now I've been doing the conventions, and I've had my experience of getting to this age. I've got that confidence naturally now, so that's helped me a lot in my personal life as well. That confidence and getting me out of myself a bit. So no, for me, they're the best thing that can happen to me, really, because it's you never know where it's going to lead now either. It could lead on to other things. We've got the 40th anniversary coming up,
right? Yeah.
So I don't know if James Cameron's arranging anything for that. I haven't heard anything yet, but that would be pretty cool to be involved with. I'd love that. And no, because I've got to know all the other actors now, because I hadn't seen them all for about 37, 38 years. So now, a couple of years, I'm getting back to seeing them all again. And so, yeah, that's good. And it's amazing because James Cameron also created this little family as well, because like all the some of the Marines went off and did a training course, and that bonding that James Cameron created for them by doing that, it's lasted. Jeanette and Mark, they're still very good friends. But they're all, when you see them all together, they're all really close. They probably only see each other once a year or something, but seeing them together, they've kept that unity together. And it's partly because of James Cameron as well, the way he kept the group together and worked with everyone. So no, it's a great legacy it's left. So
Yeah, because they'll definitely do something. They did something for the 30th in 2016. They did a big San Diego Comic-Con. They did a big panel, and
yeah,
I think they re-released the movie on Blu-ray, so they'll probably do some special edition on the 4K format now.
So fingers crossed something will come out that I can get involved with that.
And I know you weren't, for some reason, and I asked, maybe this name sounds familiar to you, Ian Nathan.
Yeah,
He's the guy that did Aliens Expanded.
Yeah.
So I asked him about it because apparently, you did stuff like this, Q&As and stuff, but you're not in the documentary for some reason.
Well, there was a communication thing apparently, because my name was put forward, and they said yes, they wanted me in it, and I never got any communication back from it. But as soon as they found this communication that got lost, it was too late to get into the DVD that had been released. So they asked me on for a Q&A, so I did that. So, and Ian came on and saw me and everything. So yeah, that was good.
Yeah,
yeah, sorry. No, because no one really knew who I was. It was, I suppose I had put my name forward because it was after I'd done my first convention when they all start. Well, it's just after COVID, I think they all started. So I'd put my name forward just like that, and they did answer, and then the communication after that just didn't happen. So I don't know what happened, but that's how it goes. So
Right, right. No, but that was a great documentary. So, but when I talked to Ian, because he's somebody that I've done a lot of these with, because I specifically asked him once I knew that you would eventually come on the podcast. I was like, "Where was Carl in the documentary?"
say,
What was that?
what did he say?
Oh no, he said something like to the effect of what you just said, that like communication wasn't the best, and time got away from us, but we were able to sneak him into a like a live Q&A kind of thing.
That was
And
good. Good Q&A with him, and he just popped in, surprised us, so that was good. So
nice, nice. But yeah, no, there's definitely going to be something for the 40th, absolutely. And but before we wrap up here, do you have any because obviously one of the shining stars of the film is Bill Paxton, and obviously it's going on almost 10 years that we haven't had Bill Paxton. Nearly 10 years coming up here pretty soon, right?
right,
It's 2016, 2017, somewhere in there,
I think, but
right?
yeah.
So, but do you have a like a fond memory of Bill Paxton?
Not as an individual, but he was, as a group, he was the clown. He was just he's the one. And if there was any tension going on, he'd be able to say something just to bring it all back to reality. He was just able to do that. He was nothing scared, nothing really bothered him. It didn't seem to. He just seemed to take everything as a bit of a joke. So if he saw like maybe James Cameron getting a bit tense about a way of shooting something, he'd make a crack, and then everything came back to normal again. So yeah, that's what I remember. Because as an individual, no, I don't. I always saw him really in the group environment. So, and also I was the warrior, I was always set aside slightly, so I wasn't always with them in the while they were filming. But and then
It, they probably didn't want you getting too friendly with them.
well, it's because with Carrie, we used to we got quite friendly because we had the water scene. We were quite a long time together, so we'd be sort of sitting around having a chat and that. They bring us cups of tea to keep us warm and that. So, but you couldn't scare her anyway. I don't think Carrie. She just took it all in her stride. But no, it was no, it was good, good feeling, the whole film. I don't think there's one bad day I had on the film. It was every day was a new experience, and it was a pleasure to do. And working with professionals like you have Bill Paxton, Michael Byrne, and who was
Lance
James.
Henriksen, Sigourney Weaver.
Right, it
Yeah.
was Stan, all the costume people as well, Stan Winston and Tom Woodruff, this and that. When you're working with people like that and they know what they're doing, it's pretty amazing. Just to watch them how they work, and it's a good learning curve for me as well. So
Well, look, I mean, before literally this will be because every new guest on the podcast, I always ask this. So, putting aside your affiliation to Aliens, uh, and even though you haven't seen all of his films, what is your favorite James Cameron film?
Aliens.
It is Aliens, even though putting aside your affiliation.
Yeah, they're probably what I've seen. Probably Titanic.
Titanic.
Yeah, because it's more of what I can relate to as a film, and I've seen it. And no, it's a moving film. So yeah, I'd say Titanic because to me, I'm not saying it's his best, but that for me is the one I go to if you ask me to pick out the best one apart from Alien.
Right, right, right. And of course, Alexandra's in that film. So,
Right.
right,
Got-
one of the featured extras in that
yeah.
film. It was really fun yesterday to watch the whole film because she was just, memory after memory after memory. Just
But it does. You watch it because I hadn't seen the film when they asked me to do my first convention. I hadn't seen the film since it came out. Basically, I'd never really watched it again, and as soon as I'd watch these, you just get these memory flashes coming, and it's incredible. You know, oh gosh, yes, you know, this is like 38 years ago, but I'm still. It seems like yesterday I was doing this stuff. You know, it's when you see it on the screen. It's so that was. Nice. Every time, because I watch the film occasionally before I do a convention, because often the fans know more about it than I do.
Right.
I'm trying to catch up with them, but yeah. So you know, I'll watch it, and there's always something that I've missed. I think, yeah, I remember doing that. I remember how we filmed that, and because yeah, with James Cameron, he come out with these ideas. You think that's not going to look like anything on the screen, and then obviously it does, doesn't it? But you do doubt. Sometimes he asks you to do something, you doubted it, but you know, because he turned cameras upside down, or rather than us, and that. So that was no, it was a great experience.
And again, like if there's one film to be in, you know, that this is a good film to pick to be in. So, look, thank you so much for coming on here. I know I think there's like a 6-hour difference between us or something like that. So
About 10 to 9 now. So
yeah. Yep. So thank you seriously for putting aside about
well,
an hour.
phone
And
me up. Be fun.
oh, of course, absolutely. And thanks to Alexandra
Yep.
for
Yeah. Yes.
mentioning us.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah. I'll send
When
her a
was the
little.
last time you saw her?
Well, she came actually to France to see me. At the last house I had, she popped down for the day she stayed, and we went out for dinner and that. She hasn't changed. She's still Alexandra. Love her. She's great. So, I know she came over to see me. Must have been about 6 years ago, I suppose. Now,
About 6 years.
yeah. So, and then you know, now we just occasional message, you know, on the internet or whatever. So,
Right.
you know, you have certain relationships. You know that if you bump into them tomorrow, it's going to carry on as it did last time. You know, there's no. It doesn't matter the distance of time. It's just going to carry on. So, and she's one of those. So, well, you know, don't you?
Oh yeah, no, she's great. Yeah.
Alexandra. So
Yes. We both mutually love Alexandra, and I'm sure everybody that's listening to this loves the work that you did in Aliens. So we thank you for it, and whatever you do next, whatever comes your way next, I wish you the best. And let's stay in touch after this and see what happens. Because like I said, that 40th, something's going to happen on that 40th.
who knows? When James calls me up, I'll let you know, Ed. All right.
All right. Stay. Just stay in the studio. We'll do a formal goodbye, but I'm just gonna wrap the episode up here. Thank you everybody for watching, listening. Now, like I always say, go watch a Cameron film. Boom, just like that.